Hey guys, in this video we're going to be going over only the job changes coming in 7.2, nothing other than the job changes. First up for Paladin seems to be a lot of AoE damage modifications. Basically they're taking AoE damage outside of their Confiteor, Blade of Faith, Truth, etc. combo, and now they're going to be putting a lot more of that potency into the Paladin's basic Total Eclipse, Prominence, Holy Circle filler. For Warrior, their single target filler is being buffed marginally, so Heavy Swing, Storm's Path, Storm's Eye, as well as Upheaval is looking at getting a little bit of an increase. However, Chaotic Cyclone is getting nerfed, as well as Primal Rend, Primal Wrath, and Primal Rumination's AoE capacity, and so Warrior's AoE is definitely being taken down a few notches. Dark Knight is actually looking at its AoE capacity getting buffed. Salt and Darkness, Shadowbringer, and Disesteem are all having their AoE cap raised from a 50% reduction to a 25% reduction. However, there is a nerf that Impalement now has its potency decreased by 20 from 320 to 300. Gunbreaker is simply getting buffed. For Reign of Beasts and Noble Blood, it's just going to be doing a bit more damage on each of those abilities. Monk is getting one nerf, which is Enlightenment. Now we're going to look at the rest, and you're going to see reduction in potency after the first target has been changed from 50% to 40%, so that's going to be a net buff. The numbers may change, but you're going to notice that it's all basically that, and that's going to hit a ton of different monk abilities, and so their AoE capacity is definitely going to be going up, as well as you could argue Wind's Reply is a single target buff, Fire's Reply is getting a single target buff because the potencies of those are simply being increased. Dragoon is just getting buffs. They're getting buffs to Drake's Bane, Stardiver, and then Heaven's Thrust. For Ninja, we're looking at two nerfs here, specifically Hake, Mujin Satsu, and AoE filler is getting nerfed very slightly, as well as Deathrog Medium is getting, I'd say, a little bit more of a nerf, where it's 40 potency being lost off of it. The rest is just buffs, like their Aeolian Edge, Armor Crush in their single target combo is being buffed. Dokumori no longer is going to have any damage fall off. Bava Kakra is getting buffed. Phantom Kame, Itachi, Kunazbane, and Tenri Jindo are now going to do more damage in AoE. Samurai is looking at nerfs to Hisatsu Kyoten and Hisatsu Guren. Now we're going to be looking at straight up damage buffs to Oki Namikiri, Keishi Namikiri, Zanshin, Tendu Setsugeka, and Tendo Keishi Setsugeka. Now for the abilities here that do have AoE components, you are going to be looking at them being a little bit more effective in AoE because they're going to have less damage fall off. For Reaper, the nerfs that we're looking at is that Melee Mastery 3 is no longer going to give a potency increase to Nightmare Scythe or Spinning Scythe, and then Executioner's Guillotine is looking at a potency decrease from 300 to 260. However, we're looking at buffs to Void and Cross Reaping skills, as well as Sacrificium. Then for Harvest Moon, Plentiful Harvest, Communio, Sacrificium, as well as included in there, as well as Perfecto, you are going to be looking at all of them having a higher efficacy in AoE with less damage fall off. The Viper is simply getting buffed to its legacy abilities, and so that is going to be in their generational combo, their Ouroboros combo, whatever you're going to call it. So first up for Bard, we're going to be looking at a 10 potency increase to Shadowbite and Ladon's Bite. However, we're looking at a higher AoE fall-offs when nerf in AoE to Pitch Perfect, Resonant Arrow, and Radiant Encore. Machinist is looking at nerfs to Spreadshot, Scattergun, and then Marksman Mastery 2, where no longer is Scattergun going to get that buff, so that's another nerf to Scattergun. However, we are looking at the AoE fall off for a lot of abilities being reduced, and so that's going to be an AoE buff. So Ricochet, Chainsaw, Double Check, Checkmate, Excavator, and Full Metal Field are going to do a bit more damage to larger packs of mobs. For Dancer, we're looking at a few nerfs here. First of all, Fan Dance 3, Saber Dance, Tilania, and then Dance of the Dawn. Oh yeah, and Fan Dance 4, and Last Dance are all getting nerfed. Sorry, they have them all mixed together, and I'm trying to go through them. I'm like, wait, did I miss one? And yeah. So those are the nerfs. All the rest of these are actually buffs for the Dancer. Windmill, Standard Finish, Single Finish, Rising Windmill, Blood Shower. It's just a host of either direct potency buffs or AoE impact, AoE fall off being less. Black Mage, and I will not add commentary. Blizzard is having its cast time reduced from 2.5 to 2 seconds. Aspect Mastery, Aspect of Astral Fire, and Umbral Ice no longer expires. Fire has its cast time reduced from 2.5 to 2 seconds. The effect of Fire Starter also no longer expires. For Thunder spells, the effect of Thunder Spell Thunderhead no longer expires. For Fire 3 and Blizzard 3, we're looking at a 10 potency increase to each of them. For Umbral Soul, halts the expiration of Umbral Ice has been removed from Umbral Soul. For Freeze, its cast time has been reduced from 2.8 to 2 seconds. As well as Flare has had its cast time reduced from 3 to 2 seconds. For Thunder 3, same thing, Thunderhead does not expire anymore. Leyline's effect duration has been reduced from 30 to 20 seconds. Ah yes, like the other 2-minute buffs. Blizzard 4 and Fire 4 are also looking at their cast times being reduced to 2 seconds, and then they are each getting a slight 20 potency nerf. Before you learn the trait Enhanced Foul, so if you're at endgame this isn't going to be something you notice too much, but it's been reduced from 2.5 to 2 seconds, and then the reduction in potency has been decreased to 20%, so it's going to be more effective in AoE. Despair, before you learn Enhanced Astral Fire, has been decreased in cast time from 3 to 2 seconds. Xenoglossy got a 10 potency increase. Enhanced Enochian is now going to have 25% to 22%, so a little bit of a nerf there, but this is kind of just a passive thing now. Paradox has had a very slight potency increase. The effect of Firestarter no longer expires. Grants Astral Fire 15 seconds duration, Umbral Ice 15 seconds, just because durations no longer matter. Oh, that was an earlier version of Enochian that they nerfed. But like the later version also is nerfed from 32% down to 27%, so I think that they really think that these potency increases are going to be enough to make up for that. I really want to see how far behind melee DPS Black Mages, but I suppose the numbers are going to come out in like a day. Flare Star has had its cast time reduced from 3 to 2 seconds, and then its potency has been increased from 400 to 500. The Black Mages are still going to absolutely hate this ability, yo. Summoner is getting like the most nothing buffs that a DPS that I literally saw locked out of my free PFs could get. So Necrotize is getting a 20 potency increase, and then Exodus is getting a 100 potency increase. Really, girl? Man. Red Mage is getting a 100 potency increase to Vice of Thorns. Prefulgence is getting a 100 potency increase. Pictomancer nerfs. I'm only going to be talking about the final numbers here. There's a lot of numbers here. I'm going to only talk about the last ones. All of Pictomancer's fillers are getting very heavy-handed buffs. And remember, we just talked a lot about jobs that got 10 potency increases. Single target filler, Fire in Red, Arrow in Green, and Water in Blue is looking at 80 potency to each of these, and this is the basic filler of Pictomancer. The AoE filler, Fire 2 in Red, Arrow 2 in Green, Water 2 in Blue, we're looking at a 60 potency increase on each of those flat. So for those who play Pictomancer, you know this, but for everyone else who's just trying to listen to the nerfs, they got a Aether palette that they can change into different colors in, and so we're looking at Blizzard in Cyan, Stone in Yellow, and then Thunder in Magenta. For all the single target, we're looking at a 100 potency increase for each and every single one of these. Now for the AoE variants, they are looking at a 120% potency increase, so this is almost 50% more damage on some of these. Hey, if you think I'm lying, you look at the numbers on the screen. It's kind of bonkers. When Pictomancer uses their hammer skill, they get 3 of a 1-2-3 combo. To be clear, all of these are getting nerfs, both in their direct potency as well as their AoE fall off is being increased, so they deal less in AoE. So for Hammer Stamp, we're looking at an 80 potency decrease, 10% decrease in fall off, so up to 70% less damage in AoE. Hammer Brush is going to be doing 100 less direct potency, and then its AoE fall off is again going to be 70% now, which is a nerf to Picto. And then the final combo, Polishing Hammer, is getting a 120 potency decrease, and its fall off is going to be 70%. Holy in White and Comet in Black are now going to be buffed quite significantly. Holy in White is getting 60 more potency on it, and then Comet in Black is going to be getting 90 potency on it. And you know, I'm just gonna say it outright, is seeing these buffs to Comet in Black and Holy in White is actually something that I called like months and months and months ago, and I just feel so disappointed seeing this. Like, I'm trying to keep commentary to a minimum, but damn is this disappointing. Now, the Pictomancy skills on Pictomancer are just getting gutted. Mog of the Ages, 300 less potency, a higher AoE damage fall off. Palm Muse is looking at a 300 potency nerf and then larger AoE fall off. Winged Muse 300 decrease, just chopping away at these skills. Clawed Muse 300 less damage. Fanged Muse 300 less damage, higher AoE fall off. Retribution of the Maideen, you could guess. Star Prism, again, nerfed. I'll save my commentary to another video. Let's talk about healers. Wait, Mage's Dia is having its potency increased by 5 on each tick to 80. Scholar's having a 5 potency increase on each dot tick to 80. And then Sage is having a 5 potency increase to 80. I can't make this up. Honestly, I feel like this is a shit post. This is so dumb. Why? I hate this so much. Like, you can read the homogenization from the shit. Fuck me, this burns to read. Fuck my life. Astro in AoE is having Oracle deal 50% less damage after the first target, so they're getting damage fall off, and then Gravity 2, however, is getting a 10 potency increase. Okay, I am gonna be the dick here. Astro is so far ahead of White Mage in terms of damage capacity that I don't think that this is gonna balance things out. Like, if you pull up the Fruit numbers, it's kind of absurd how far ahead Astro is. Like, they're so homogenized, and I'm so, like, bro, I'm done with this video. I'm just a little bit demoralized, you could say. Actually, that's exactly how I am. I just feel like absolute dog shit. But I'm sure no one wants to hear it, so I'll cut it off there.